Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petrellis, and you see these two studs right here. These guys are a part of what we've teamed up with Jim's Market, with Medford Rec Hockey. And guys, and we threw a challenge out there to all teams, boys teams, girls teams, with anybody that's affiliated with Medford. You score a hat trick, you prove you score a hat trick, you come on this podcast, we get to talk about it, and we get to know who you are a little bit too, which is pretty cool in itself. So you see these guys here, they're both from Medford. We have a fourth grade. I'm going to start with my man, Wyatt. Wyatt goes to the Brooks Elementary School. He's a fourth grade student. His favorite hockey player is Patrice Bergeron, and his favorite subject is math. So we're definitely going to have a conversation. And the guy who's at the bottom of my screen, if you're watching this, his name is Dom, and Dom goes to the Roberts. I almost messed that up. I couldn't read my notes for a second. I got nervous. Dom goes to the Roberts. He's a fifth grader. I'm a fifth grade teacher myself, so this will be a fun conversation. His favorite players, I mentioned, is Pasternak, big time goal scorer. It says he's very streaky like him. And on top of it, his favorite subject in school is math as well. So there's going to be an interesting conversation about curriculum at some point here. But without further ado, I said their names, but I'm going to introduce them together. We have Wyatt and Dom. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at these guys, polite right out the gate. All right, so we're gonna go from polite to having you guys brag about yourselves here because getting a hat trick is one of the coolest things. Now, before I get into depth here, were there hats thrown on the ice? Did anyone got a hat on the ice when you scored a hat trick?
No.
God, your parent. Listen, you guys, this is a challenge. You can tell your teammates this. Have a discussion with your coach in the locker room. Your parents got to be better. They got to be better. They got to throw the hat on the ice. You score a hat trick, there should be hats on reserve, ready to toss on the ice. I'm just throwing that out there, guys. You can ignore it, or you can bring it to the table because if you're scoring hat tricks, you deserve the hats on the ice. But back to you guys and your performance of what's going on. We'll start with the younger guy here. We'll start with Wyatt, fourth grader, as I mentioned, scoring a hat trick. He told me it wasn't his first one. I mean, he scored some hat tricks before, so we know we got a guy who knows how to put the puck in the net. But let's talk about this hat trick that we're on the podcast for. You mentioned that you kind of spread the love across the period. So first period, second period, third period, pretty consistent player. Who were you playing, dude? And talk about this a little bit more. Do you remember who you were playing?
Yeah, we were playing the North Shore Stars.
Okay. Well, that day the stars were not shining in the sky. So talk about your hat trick a little bit. What happened?
I didn't actually score 4 goals. The last one, my friend actually scored at Paul.
What a nice guy. You just gave, so you scored 3 goals and you just decided to give the fourth goal away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty nice of you. Now, talk about your game a little bit. You mentioned that you kind of play all of the positions. I mean, we talked about Patrice Bergeron. You said, I'm not just a center. I kind of play all the positions. What's your favorite offensive position to play? Are you a big face-off guy, or do you like playing the wings
I
better?
like to play center.
You
Yeah.
do? Why is that?
I like to win face-offs and carry, like, when I win face-offs, I just like to carry the puck right to the net.
Do you ever get kicked out of a face-off?
No.
No, so you're good. You're a clean face-off guy. That's good to know. All right, Dom, down to you, man. You're a fifth grade, a little bit of an older guy. Looks like you definitely can score. And you mentioned Pashnak's your favorite player, so big time offensive guy. Who is your hat trick against? Talk about your hat trick a little bit.
So we played the North Shore Stars, and I scored 5 goals on them, and yeah, I like spread them across the periods, and my line mates helped me too. So
Is there a goal you remember? Is there a goal that you were either like, wow, I can't believe I score that, or it was just like a nice move or a nice shot or a breakaway, something like that?
yeah, I went like coast to coast, and I scored like a shot, I think.
So coast to coast, did you loop around the net or did you start from the board?
Oh, I looped around the net.
Oh man, so you went coast to coast and scored. Do you score a lot of goals like that?
Some.
Okay. How does that feel? I mean, when you go coast to coast, that's pretty cool. I mean, everybody goes crazy in the stands a little bit because you see it start to happen. You get to the red line, you get to the blue line, you make a move inside the circle. You're like, oh, you're gonna get a quality shot, and then boom, you score. So that must be kind of cool to go coast to coast, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are you guys in the same team?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, so you guys must be murdering people then if everyone just scoring hat tricks here. How's the team doing this season?
Good. We're the best in our division.
Yeah,
What's your
we're
guys'
4-0.
record?
4-0.
4-0.
Oh yeah, so you guys are absolutely. Is every game like this? Is someone just scoring a hat trick every game, or like multiple goals a game?
Multiple goals.
Sometimes.
All right, so hold on. There's 4 games. How many goals have you guys scored in 4 games?
Probably like 7 or 8.
So you're averaging like 2 goals a game right now.
Would we
What about
like
you, Dom?
15 maybe?
You have 15 goals in 4 games,
Something like that.
dude. Holy cow! You guys both live in Medford?
Yeah.
Holy moly. I mean, obviously, you go to school. What am I even asking that for? But the point I'm trying to make is holy cow, we got some studs coming up. You guys are scoring 15 goals and 7. You guys scored 22 goals between the two of you. How many goals have you got? Like, what's the score of every game so far?
It's like the game that we're talking about is like we won 8-6, and like every other game's kind of been like sometimes a blowout, but
Like, what's a blowout here? Like, what's a blowout?
we've won like 17-0. We've won.
I mean, that is a blowout. Holy moly. Okay, so you guys are pretty good. Do you guys should
Yeah.
just start showing up to hockey rinks and just challenging teams, like open challenges. I mean, you guys seem like you're that good. Um, that's awesome. So this is kind of like I mean, when I played hockey, it was like selects. Is that what this kind of is, or is this like a certain name?
It's like a squirt. It's just a
Oh,
squirt.
so it's like a Medford team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. When I heard you say the North, I thought it was some like select like type team that's away from the town. Oh, okay, this is Medford. Way better. Okay. Sorry, I'm putting this all together now, guys. Sorry. All right, awesome. So let's jump into the next part of this that we talked a little bit about is you guys play different sports than hockey. And the reason that I want to bring this up as youngsters, because I talk to a lot of high school kids about this, or even college kids, and we talk about them playing sports and how they don't just play one sport, they play a lot of different sports. Now, Wyatt, I'll jump back to you. What other sports do you play besides hockey?
I play basketball and I play baseball.
Okay. Now, if you had to rate your sports, like I was a 3 sport kid when I grew up, I played something every single season. If you had to rate either like your favorite from first to third or the one that you feel like you're best at from first to third, however you want to grade it is fine with me. But playing 3 different sports, I'm curious of where the sports fall for you a little bit.
I like to play hockey first, and then I like to play baseball, and then I like to play basketball.
Okay. So hockey's kind of the big one, and then the other 2 sports could be either or. Would you say that's pretty fair? That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, talk about playing sports. Like, let's bring up hockey, right? So you play hockey, you have a hockey season, and then right after that, you go into playing something in the spring or the next sport that you play. What in hockey do you kind of learn the most? Whether that's something you learn about your game physically or something about being a good teammate. What's something that you bring maybe to another sport that you play that like you get from hockey?
Probably just like assisting the people and like passing.
So being like a good teammate and being able to kind of like help others out, maybe learning from how you did it in one sport and using that for another sport.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. That's awesome. And Dom, for you, what other sports do you play outside of hockey?
I play baseball, that's it.
Okay, so you're a baseball guy. What position do you play?
I usually play first, short, or pitcher.
Okay, so that makes sense then. Okay, so you play a pretty athletic position. You play first base. Got it. Score 17 goals in 4 games. Okay, this is all coming together now. Here we go. I'll ask you the same question that I kind of just asked Wyatt here. What do you gain from hockey, or what do you take from hockey and maybe bring to baseball that is maybe something that you only get from hockey?
Um Being a good teammate, that's pretty much all.
Perfect. And
Yeah,
what about you, Dom?
being a good teammate.
Okay. And what does being a good teammate mean to you guys? Because I love that answer. That's an awesome answer because high school kids talk about that. So to hear you guys at the ages of 10 and 11 or 9 and 10 and the young ages to me is that's amazing to hear that answer. What does it mean to be a good teammate to you guys?
Like passing the puck to my teammates, or like helping out like the pitcher when he's having a tough time.
Okay. So supportive, being really supportive, which is important. What about you, Wyatt?
Making good plays, making good assists, and yeah.
Okay. So being a good teammate, as you guys are both saying, kind of comes from two different ways. That there's the performance of being a good teammate, but there's also the aspect of like picking your teammates up and helping your teammates, maybe when they're not having a good game, or maybe when they made an error, or maybe they made a mistake, that you're not being the teammate who's kind of like shaking your head at them or putting them down. You're kind of the teammate that says, "Hey, we made a mistake. We got to move on from it. We still need you. This is really important." It's great to kind of hear you guys both say answers from both ends. Now, I said this at the top, guys, and we got to talk about it, is your love for math, okay? I love teaching math. Right now, we just started fractions yesterday. Today, we just learned about common denominators and comparing fractions a little bit. So, I'm going to start with you here, Dom, because you're a fifth grader. You're in Medford. I teach in Medford. So, I know what you're doing, dude. I know what you're doing. So, where are you at right now in math?
We're the same thing, fractions, but we started on Monday.
Okay, so you started yesterday like we did.
Yeah, and today we just did like adding and not subtracting fractions.
Yeah, so listen, you tell your teacher, Miss Medeiros. We're on the same page, her and I. We are on the same page here. That's great. So you both mentioned that you love math. So Dom, I'm talking to you. What do you like? What's your favorite parts of math that you like? What's an area of math that you just like love doing?
I love like multiplication.
Are you pretty good at it?
Yeah.
See, in my class, we do this really competitive thing. You are competing against yourself, but then when we get to like March and April and I start posting a little bit what the scores are, it gets competitive, which is great. But we do multiplication races. So it's 100 multiplication facts. I set a timer for 5 minutes and the paper's face down so the kids can't see it. I say, ready, set, go. They flip it over and they answer as many as they can, as quick as they can. Some kids might get like, 50 out of 100. Some might get 80 out of 100. Some might get like 98 out of 100. And then you'll have your kids who get all 100 done and say done. And I write their time down when they're done. And I keep track of it on a sheet. So every week I correct them all. I write them down. I do that every single week. And then we see like how much better kids have gotten at it. But when we get to March and April, I start posting it, and it's like your Elite Eight, your bubble teams, like it gets like really competitive. And but what happens is in fifth grade math, you're probably starting to see this, buddy. Everything's multiplication so far. Even when you're doing fractions, you're multiplying to find common denominators. So you have to know your multiplication facts. So that's great that you said that. And obviously, that probably helps you do pretty well in math. If you know your multiplication facts, you probably get most of the things that you're doing or understand most of the things that you're doing. Wyatt, what about you, man? You said you love math too. What do you love? What's your favorite part of it?
I like to do multiplication.
Okay, multiplication. So same thing. Are you pretty good with your facts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I if I ask you guys facts right now, you'd be comfortable? Bang, you know it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. I'll start. Wyatt, 6 times 3.
6 times 3 is 18.
Let's go. Okay, okay. Dom, let's do 7 times 4.
28.
Let's go. Okay, you guys are good. You guys are good. Get it. I get it. All right. Now, math is cool. So I'm going to ask you this, and I'm sure you could say a million different teachers here. Okay. But I'm going to ask you, is there a teacher that you had that's cool, that you remember having, that you loved that school year? Or do you have a memory in a class that you just stands out to you? Because I'm a teacher and I do a lot of things in class, and it's cool. Like I got 2 letters today from 6th graders who they do this assignment every year, and I always get kind of letters, but they wrote such specific things that they really enjoyed in class and that they loved in class that they remembered. That just made me smile because I'm like, wow, they remember that? Like, like that's something I wouldn't think kids would remember, and they did. And so it's cool to have kids give me those moments a little bit. But is there a teacher that stands out to you or a moment that stands out to either one of you guys in school that you want to chat about?
First grade, I had a teacher named Mr. Haggerty. We did a lot of cool and fun things. Like we had a pizza party at the end of the year, and
Nice.
we did some fun like math and stuff.
God, I remember those days, pizza parties, man. Oof, those were the best.
Wow.
Dom, anyone stand out to you? Any moments stand out to you, buddy?
Probably like my new teacher, Miss Medeiros, because she always like laughs with us. She just like loves us and has a great time with us.
Look at this guy sucking up to his teacher. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I agree. Young teachers. I remember being a young teacher. Now I'm kind of like an old man. I have my own kids, and I'm like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." No, I'm not really. But I get it. Young teachers have a lot of energy and they bring that to a class, and that is so important. When the kids are happy and they're excited and they want to learn, I think that that is important that you are that. And you guys have teachers that stand out that probably were that. So that's awesome. Last thing I'm going to ask you guys, you're on this podcast. Have you gotten your B-boy yet?
No.
Oh,
Oh man, I'm gonna call Justin. I'm gonna get on the horn about this. Justin loves this. I go in the Jim's market, I bring my kiddos there, and every time I see him, he loves it. He's like, any hat tricks? Any hat tricks? We think it's a really cool thing. So you guys gotta go in there, say it. These guys know you're on Beyond. Say I was on Beyond Podcast. I'm in here to
Man,
get
yeah.
my B-boy. You can even probably show them on your phone once we post this on YouTube and everything else. See, give me my B-boy. So, but no, in all seriousness, they make sure you guys go. We love Jim's Market. You guys have probably crushed a million B-boys before, so you know exactly what it is. But I want to thank you guys for coming on here today. This was a lot of fun. You kids are pretty cool. And listen, you're scoring a bazillion goals so far. How many more? How many? Like you guys are 4-0. I mean, you play till like March, correct?
Yeah,
Like, do you think you're just gonna steamroll every team you guys play?
no.
probably.
Is your team this good? Like, do you guys know you're this good?
Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy. Okay, well, listen, we'll have to keep track of this, but I'll say this to you guys, and you can tell your teammates, and they can tell their parents, because I'm sure their parents will all get out their iPhones or get out their crazy cameras and do this. But if you guys score goals, man, send them to us. The parent gets a goal on camera, and the kid wants to send it to us. Send it to us. We'll post it on Instagram. We'll shout you guys out because right now it seems like you guys could go on and play in the Olympics right now. This team sounds like they're so good. So I love to follow you guys, so don't hesitate to have anybody send us film, and we'll gladly shout you guys out. And if you score another hat trick or any of your buddies score a hat trick, it seems like this is going to happen frequently. We got to get ready to get all yous on the podcast. So, thank you guys for coming on here today and being really cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem. All right. So you guys hear it here. These guys have scored 7,000 goals between the two of them. We were lucky to get them on here today. But this is Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petralis. Till next time.